Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6 Cup car this weekend. Did a little ARCA racing with Andy J.
That looked fun. I'm Brett Griffin. I am off this weekend. I am going to be back at the racetrack in Nashville, and I am part-time spotting this year for Richard Childress Racing in the number 33 car.
You're coming to Nashville?
I am.
There's good news. What's up? Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace, Kyle Sieg this weekend. Hi, Casey.
Hello, Casey Boat here. Well, we're back from the... What are you already? You're laughing at me?
I was just laughing at Freddie.
Okay. We are back from the...
Your intro should say, Casey Boat, pregnant AF.
Yes. That's a great description.
She got here. She said, my back hurts. She said, welcome to my life, Casey.
At least it
I
ain't
think
hot
we've
outside.
decided we're going to compare bellies, like, towards the end.
You're probably still going to lose, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Is that what my baby shower is going to be?
Yeah.
Or an on-choke baby shower. Anyways, we are back from Iowa. The first time the Cup cars were on track, where Ryan Blaney finally gets his win after being so close. What'd y'all think of the race?
I thought the Cup race was pretty good. It's racy. Thank God these guys went to school overnight and figured out how to make these tires last more than 20 laps, because we were going to be in trouble if they, luckily I heard the Jeff and Jordan talking about this, like if we went here and had a 20-minute practice like we normally did, that race probably is going to be a bit of a show, because you never really got, you would see less issues and guys might not be, so keen to change their setup. I know we made pretty, substantial changes to ours.
I just wanted on the record that Freddie is advocating for more practice.
No. I'm just saying, thank you. We had more practice there. I don't ever want more practice.
Was it hot?
Nah, it wasn't hot.
100?
No, it wasn't hot. I seen, I didn't know. I didn't realize going into it that we were a 6 o'clock start. I figured it out obviously about a month or two ago, but I think that's why they did it. Because it was pretty hot during the day, and then it was obviously cooling off as the race went on. So and it's more for the fans, obviously. The racing I think probably would have been better if it was middle of the afternoon and hot, slick, but it's a lot to ask of people to sit out in 100-degree weather all day long.
Yeah.
So
I originally looked on my calendar, and I download the one off the website where it auto loads into your Google Calendar or whatever it's called, and it said it started at midnight. And I was like, well, this is going to be interesting. And then it eventually went completely off the calendar to where you couldn't find it at all.
We were not there.
Yeah, it's like you weren't even there. So
I had the same thing, and it popped up, and I was in... getting ready to race. It was that, like, it gave, it gives you the warning before it. I got that warning, and I was like, okay.
But no, the racing I thought was good. I thought the racing was better than I expected it to be. I was worried after Saturday. We saw tire issues on Saturday. We saw it go to pretty much a single lane around that second lane, middle lane. And obviously we always say this, the Cup guys are better than the Xfinity guys. That's just a fact. And they are able usually to run better. Sometimes it's to their detriment, where they're also fast that they can't get away from each other also. But they did a better job of using both lanes yesterday. Or actually really, there was a kind of a third lane. There was a little bit of a dead spot, I thought, right to the very top of the asphalt. But I thought it was pretty racy.
Overall, with, going after Saturday's practice, I think it was very clear from the media standpoint that drivers and teams were worried about the race. What conversations did you guys have internally as a team of like what the strategy would be like, how to adjust if these issues definitely come to fruition?
So the biggest thing I think everybody talked was the talk of the garage when I got to my our meetings was you had 10 sets of tires and it was 350 laps, so you could run. I don't know, it was like 40 laps. If if you could put tires on every 40 laps, and we were blowing tires every 20 laps in practice, and it was like, the math's not mathing here. Like, you're gonna have to figure out a way to make these last at least 40, and then you can see. And it was, I think, you still saw tire problems, and it's basically, you guys know this. It's how aggressive do you want to be with the setup? It's camber and air related, and I didn't know this. I was listening to Teardown last night, and they said that Goodyear underestimated the lap time by almost a second. They give out that curve of where they recommend tire pressure and cambers at, and they had to adjust that curve because we were running so much faster in practice. But, I know our team made some adjustments to our car to make it last longer. I'm sure you did too, TJ.
Yeah, we really didn't have any tire issues on the 6.
You guys are always perfect.
Well, we weren't having the overwear problem, and I don't think we're ever on the side of chancing the air of being too low like a lot of cars are. And if you can look at the cars that do have problems, and most of them are repeat offenders from whenever we switched to this car. At some point, that's where their speed there, but there's also a risk too with it. So I think most of the tire problems, like Freddie said, were self-induced kind of. I know if Goodyear says the recommend is 30, there's going to be some that are at 28, but it's fast. I don't think I was a little worried about the track because everybody that got in the second lane, I just lifted and dove right to the bottom. So the second lane was really kind of sketchy in practice, and that made me a little nervous for the ARCA race on Friday night. But those guys, towards the end of the ARCA race, I noticed guys starting to move up their track and turn down in the middle, just run this big arc and turn down. And I'm like, well, if they're running that big arc and turning down, it's going to eventually stick in the middle, and then they're going to carry the speed on exit. So it showed signs of that at the end of the ARCA race. And then the Xfinity race, obviously, I thought was a good race to watch, and those guys were all over the place. And there was tire problems with the Xfinity cars, but it was a different type of problem. So we don't really have when we have problems with our tires. Most of the time the drivers can feel it. A lot of times, Bristol, those guys would feel it, and they can get the car slowed down a lot of times beforehand. And Xfinity cars, they just seem to be having problems where they didn't have any sign of it, and it just would go. But now the track definitely widened out as the weekend went on, and if anybody's going to widen a racetrack out, it's going to be a Cup car now. And how these guys are, man, turned out to be a pretty good race.
Some surprises on guys that weren't fast. Some surprises on guys that didn't qualify well, started in the back. Obviously, Blaney led, I think, a career-high number of laps for him. So across the board, going to the racetrack for the first time, almost every time is a good thing. I don't know the last time we went to a track for the first time with Cup cars and it sucked. And I think Gluck's poll is trending at 92%. It was a good race. We've been about how poorly this car performs, and how hard it is to pass at short tracks. I mean, we saw passing yesterday. I mean, we saw Denny start up front and go to the last. Obviously, a lot of cars passed him. Curious what he'll say about it in his podcast. But overall, watching the race on television was a very pleasant experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's there was times where we got. Well, I'm sure we'll get to it later, but we got a gift yesterday of a caution during that run, and it cycled us to the top 10, and we were able to get stage points, but you had to have a good car. Like if your car wasn't good, you just weren't. We could drive up there. There was guys up that stayed out, and we had 30 lap tires, more than us, and we couldn't pass them.
Yeah.
Because our car wasn't good enough. It wasn't because the tire, any tire. It was just we weren't good enough, and then as the runs went on, we just continued to fade.
I think one of the things that amazes me just about NASCAR in general is we can build racetracks in the absolute middle of nowhere and have tens of thousands of people come out. And I don't care if we're talking about Pocono, if we're talking about Watkins Glen, if we're talking about Michigan, if we're talking about Iowa. Like, holy cow, man, our fans are just unbelievable in the sense of literally if you build it, they will come. And it was cool to see a packed house yesterday.
The show's good, man. I mean, this racing, we have good races. And, I'll give it to them. I was skeptical about this Repave. I was there for the test, and I know how slick it was. And man, it was turned out to be a really good deal. I think the only thing that I would like to see more of is we didn't really have, when I say there was no fall off,
yeah.
I mean, it was like no fall off.
You were worried more, there was kind of an I think that you would have seen a lot of probably no tire, two tires if you had more confidence in the tire. You know what I mean? Because everybody was so concerned about the tire early that, you just, I mean, Blaney won the race with a 2-tire call.
Right.
And it was just because, that's what's going to win us the race. We got to go for it, and he was talking at the end, like the lefts. I think Hassler said they had like 130 laps on their lefts by the end of the race. And he felt like they were wearing violently at the end, the very end when Williams trying to chase him down. But, the fall off was so little that I think you would have seen guys be more aggressive if they had a little more confidence that the right side tires were going to stay up.
Yeah, the only thing that I will say NBC did wrong during their broadcast is if Rick Allen said one time, he said it 100 times, that Blaney has 80 people in the stands watching him today. Well, guess what, bud? There's about 40,000 people there that are also in the stands watching it. I got so tired of seeing them 80 people on television in their gray T-shirts. I was like, give it a
literally
rest.
Leading, and they were cheering
Over and over.
What was worse,
and over.
the 80 fans of Blaney or the HMS 40th anniversary that they went to how many times? 50 times during that broadcast?
There was some redundancy there, Jay. I'll give you that.
So while we're on that topic, obviously this was NBC's first race back. What did y'all think of the broadcast? Well, I guess more for Brett since you watched it.
I mean, look, it's a big change. You know that Rick Allen's in there for a short amount of time. I felt like he did a really good job navigating the conversation. Burton and Letarte did a good job. They hit some points that I feel like you wouldn't necessarily see hit on some of the other broadcasts. And Letarte said point blank that he's really surprised that was a caution. And I feel like when you're a fan sitting at home and you see something happen and television lies to you, it upsets you. You lose credibility within the broadcast. So I appreciate Steve's candidness and honesty on things that he was covering, and he gave some really cool perspective. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, the broadcast certainly missed Dale Jr., I mean, it kind of sucks that he doesn't have a broadcast home this year. Obviously, he's coming back next year with Amazon and looking forward to that. But it's going to take some getting used to. I mean, obviously, other people are having to fill the time that he would normally talk. And he would have some cool perspectives on stuff. And obviously, he's still, in my mind, the most popular person in our sport, whether he's driving or not driving. So, but overall, man, I thought it was a really, really good product. And I enjoyed the out of it. I mean, it blew Phoenix away. Like I'm sitting there watching this thing, and I'm like, why is Phoenix our championship race? Like, it literally is my least favorite track on the circuit. This one was in my top 5 yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I can imagine there are a few reasons why. Maybe being in the middle of nowhere is probably not a solid.
I'm going to guess in
championship.
November it's probably a little chilly there.
Where'd
It's
y'all
okay.
stay?
It doesn't matter. Weather doesn't matter to Brett.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Where did y'all stay? What towns?
Des Moines.
Oh, Des Moines. Oh, did you go to the High Life bar?
No.
That's the best bar in town.
I was at Knoxville.
Oh.
Watching Tyler suck. Tyler's terrible.
He almost got laughed.
How far is Knoxville from the racetrack?
It was
With the construction or not?
No, it wasn't bad. I never really hit any construction. It was I went from the track to Knoxville, and then it was probably 45 minutes maybe from the track.
They did
Oh, that's not bad.
and then 45 to the hotel to Des Moines.
It was it was almost 45 wherever
They did
you were.
a great job putting like World of Outlaws racing at the same time that same weekend. I mean, it was a no-brainer. I got a few tweets about people going to the track.
Yeah,
and
I mean, the whole industry was there. Really.
Yeah.
I saw there was tons of guys in the garage. We went out. A bunch of spotters went. It was fun, man. We might have stopped by Dingus for a little while. Tyler had a much better run at Dingus than he had at Knoxville. I will say that.
I'd imagine. Anyways, before we head in spot on, spot off, obviously there's a ton of rumors swirling around where the SHR drivers are going, especially with Martin announcing his retirement. What are y'all hearing?
I think the biggest thing, for me, Casey, coming out of all this silly season talk, and listen, we've probably never seen this many teams up in the air with, drivers and crew chiefs and spotters and all the stuff that's going to go down. But some really good organizations are going after some really good people at Stewart-Haas Racing. And when I look at Stewart-Haas Racing, obviously you've got talented engineers over there. You've got talented crew chiefs. You've got talented mechanics. You've got talented guys like Greg Zipadelli, has been around forever. And what I am kind of surprised at is top teams are going after these guys. It's not like and to be honest with you, the bottom teams need to be going after them. Like if I'm on the bottom half of the points right now and I'm not running top 10, like I'm going to go and I'm going to make some major personnel changes within my team to make me better. I don't know what RFK did over the last 2 years. 2.5 years to get so much speed and get so much better and literally become almost a premier Ford organization within the sport. But obviously there were changes that were made. So I'm curious to see what Stewart-Haas people land where, Freddie.
Yeah, I mean, the people side of it's one thing. The driver's side is obviously, I think everybody's seen the rumors of Chase Briscoe's getting into 19. I think you could probably expect an announcement on that in the next week or so.
Didn't see that coming 2 weeks ago.
No, and it's listening to Let's Tear Down Again last night. I don't think they wanted to start a rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, you've got a championship caliber team there. You don't want to put a Corey Heim, which I don't know. There's something going on there with Corey Heim where he's never going to get in a JGR car. It seems like for some reason, I don't know.
Can't be on the blacklist, but
yeah, I don't know what it is, but
I think it's just like contracts.
I don't think. No, it's not contracts.
Really, I've heard.
Yeah.
But it's
contacts maybe.
So who else you going to get? There's the Eric Jones out there maybe, but do you really want to poach a driver from another Toyota team? John Hunter, he might have been in that position last year, but then he went to the 42. Now again, and he's not having a good start to this year. He's not. I shouldn't say he's not making many friends. I'll say that much.
TJ loves him.
TJ, big fan. So then who are you going to get after that? You're going to steal somebody? Well, that's going to cost you a lot of money, and signing somebody like Chase Briscoe might not cost you a lot of money.
I'm surprised by it, and I say that because he has one win in his Cup career. He's been around a while. Last year, he ran behind the Rick Ware cars the majority of the time, and this is when Rick Ware was not running as well as they are this year. That's what makes me surprised about it, is the struggles that hit 1.5 mile tracks for that group was really, really, really bad. So from that's what surprises me is, yes, that is a championship caliber team. Yes, that car can go out and win. Yes, they want a driver that they know they can put in and he's going to be that guy. I'm surprised that they think Briscoe is that guy. And I'm not saying he's not the right hire. I just, no different than when they hired, Alex Bowman at the 48 car. I was surprised by that. They went all young blood across the board at Hendrick, and when you see that happen, you're like, how many years is it going to take them to be relevant? Well, now they're on top of the freaking world with William Byron. He's won more races in his car than anybody. But when you see those moves happen, you look at a Chandler Smith and say, do you put him in there? Well, it's going to take 3 years for him to win. I don't think they want to wait 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they're waiting. What's Ty Gibbs?
I mean,
year and a half in?
3. No, this is year 3, I think, isn't it?
Well, he runs some part-time for you guys, 23-11, but not full-time.
I think full-time. Last year was his
full-time. This is he's a year and a half in, and I think the strategy is it takes these guys 2 to 3 years to become winners, and I don't think with that car they want to wait. Here's the other big question is, to your point, how much sponsorship stays on that car, on the 19 car with Martin leaving? And because that dictates how much money you can spend to go get a driver, right? You can't go hire, for lack of a better word, you can't go hire a Matt Kenseth and bring him back in, not from retirement, but I'm saying if you want to go hire, you can't go hire Kyle Busch.
Yeah, that was the name I was going to say.
I guess let me say that.
For one, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get Kyle out of his RCR contract. Yeah. Then you're going to have to pay Kyle, where I'm sure the pay scale for Kyle Busch is quite a bit different than it is for Chase Briscoe.
Yes.
And then you have, on the sponsor side of it, you have Mahindra Tractors, I think, is probably going to go with Chase.
Yeah.
So there's money coming in with him, plus the sponsors that are already there. I'm going to assume Bass Pro is probably done there. We heard rumors, you brought it up last week about maybe them, kind of shifting that sponsorship to know a little bit more. But yeah, and Briscoe, listen.
Where's that at?
The only place that makes sense is RCR to me, but they'd have to buy a charter for that, I would assume.
Kyle made a comment about being willing to go somewhere else.
He ain't going nowhere. He's staying there. I think he might want to leave, but I don't think he can leave. I don't know where else. The only other rumor I've heard of him was maybe trying to get back at Hendrick, but you're gonna get rid of Alex Bowman. The guy finishes in the top 10 every week. You know what I mean? So it's a weird deal there. As far as the other guys, I don't know. Priest is probably out. I would assume he's gonna have to find a home in the Xfinity Series somewhere.
That's what I hear too. Yeah.
Josh,
I would think that Josh and Cole Custer probably are the two guys that end up in the front row cars, the two extra front row cars. You hear that rumor a lot. Who the hell's else? Oh, Noah. Noah's, like we said, Noah, the only rumor that makes sense to me is Noah taking some Bass Pro money. Maybe the Bass Pro consolidates all their money to go to RCR because they've been split for the last few years or last 20
21.
years,
Well, when you look at,
It's 21.
but when you look at this Bass Pro sponsorship, I don't know of another brand currently in the sport that's doing as much as they're doing. They're sponsoring multiple teams, which is obviously multiple drivers. They do a lot of activations with the racetrack. It's very clear that they believe their customer is a NASCAR fan.
Yeah.
And up and coming drivers. Like they follow them from the beginning.
Agree.
Yeah, they're on Dale's late models. They're on Wyatt Miller's cars, whatever he runs. They're just across the board, a little bit everywhere.
What are you hearing about 21?
21. The rumor I keep hearing is a little guy that we know, former podcast guest. Who, if that comes to fruition,
Hey, listen,
he's
man,
earned it.
I talked to Justin Haley last May. We were at North Wilkesboro, and obviously I spotted for him full time the year before, and he was talking, through scenarios that he had for a career path, and you're sitting there listening, and you're like, man, this sucks. Like this guy is a good dude. I like him, and he's a good driver, smart driver, doesn't do anything stupid, and obviously can win races. And it's like, man, it's just wrong place, wrong time. What's going to happen? Well, then he announces Rick Ware, and we all look at each other going, what? Well, he runs top 10 yesterday all day pretty much.
Yeah.
And finally got some TV time. Not that they wouldn't mention him, but they wouldn't really show his car. And then they finally showed his car, and I'm like, oh, my God, the camera guy found a 51 car. Thank God. But this guy has obviously impressed a lot of people. I mean, I've heard that he could potentially go to a 2311 third car, but potentially to RFK if they add a third car. Obviously, now he's rumored to be going to the 21 car, which may be vacated because Briscoe didn't and elected not to stay in the Ford camp. And it's kind of ironic. Toyota raises a lot of these guys through their programs, development programs, and then they lose them. So it's kind of ironic that Toyota's getting a guy.
You're going to take a Ford guy.
They're going to take a Ford guy, which, hey, man, good for them, right? Because you got to do what you got to do. But, no, Justin Haley, I feel like, is going to end up in a really good spot. I don't think it's going to be a long time either until that deal gets announced, it doesn't sound like.
Yeah, we're going to have to get him on here. The problem is he's quit coming to Big Al's because he apparently decided he wants to be a pilot. So he goes flying every Monday morning. So he can't come
drinking
drinking.
isn't ideal, I guess.
Well, they said it's like 8 hours bottle to throttle is what they kept saying. So it's not. We're probably not unless he starts flying about noon. I don't think he's going to make it at the Big Al's anymore.
What about that third 2311 Charger? What could possibly
Freddie
happen
can't say
there?
what's
I don't know
going
what the hell
on,
you're talking about.
but it's going on. It's going down. Mm-hmm. I don't think that'll be a long time before it gets announced either. I think it's pretty clear cut what's going to happen there.
Interesting. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then kick off Spot On, Spot Off. First topic, Martin Truex Jr.'s crew chief, James Small, saying it's been a big distraction the past few years when asked if Martin's indecisiveness about hanging up the helmet has affected their team's focus. Spot On, Spot Off, Brett.
The crew chief's job is to go out and make the car as fast as they can for whoever is driving it. And the driver that you have driving your car dictates what that setup needs to feel like. TJ might like his car a little looser. Freddie might like his car a little tighter. But for me, like I don't
definitely prefer it tighter.
I agree with you on the tighter side. I would want mine tighter too. I look at this as just kind of word fluff. And I don't think it's a distraction. I think that, Martin's going to go out and drive his ass off. Here's the cool thing about having a Martin Truex Jr. in your car. You don't have to wonder if the car's any good. You know the car's good if he's fast, and the car's bad if he's not. I've been in situations where, the driver says something, and the crew chief and engineer look at each other and go, well, he's full of shit. Well, that car ain't that bad. Because they don't believe in the driver. And that's the cool thing about having a Martin Truex is, yesterday when that race, when he qualified so bad, you knew it wasn't the car. You knew the car wasn't where Martin needed it to be. So I'm spot off for just the whole comment of it, because you got Martin Truex Jr. driving, and you're going to want Martin Truex Jr. to drive as long as he's willing to drive. And you got a big change coming next year.
I think that, I think that I get the distraction side of it, but I don't think it should be a distraction to the crew chief, like you said. I could understand, if you don't know year to year. I mean, this was the third year, right? We've been, waiting on Martin to announce, are you coming back? You're not coming back. Bob asked him the same question. I mean, every week for 3 years it seemed like, or 2.5 years, whatever. But I can see on the team side of it, you trying to build a program and long term, sign. It's hard to sign a long term sponsor if you don't know who's driving the car from year to year, and it's hard to kind of get your groundwork laid where you're going to compete for championships if you're wondering who's driving from time to time. But just for one thing, just shout out to Martin Truex. I mean, unbelievable career. One of the guys I followed growing up, another Northeast guy. I remember him running Wall Stadium and then some of the Busch North stuff when I first started seeing him around. And then obviously once he made it to the leap to go Xfinity or Nationwide at the time, probably for Junior. That was a team that I followed, a driver that I followed a lot growing up. So awesome, the career he had, and then hopefully he goes out on top. He's got to get 2 wins to get to 50 NASCAR wins. So I told Drew, that's your job the rest of the year is make sure you get, total NASCAR wins, not just Cup.
The first time I met Martin, we got in a Tahoe in the middle of the night. I think we left at midnight, and we drove to Daytona Beach, Florida, and we partied all week that week. TJ didn't come for whatever reason, but TJ, you've been around him a lot more than the other two of us have.
Yeah. I mean, first time I met Martin was at Daytona when I think it was 2004.
So he was running Busch North.
Yeah, he was getting ready. He was getting ready to drive the Chance 2 stuff, I believe,
yeah.
And that's the weekend that Dale Jr. won the Daytona 500, and me and Martin hung out that whole race, and all the crew ran. I mean, we were halfway. We were gonna run out into the grass. We didn't know what to do, and then when Dale Jr. pulled into victory lane. Oh my gosh, talk about a mob. Like it was. There's no way we were making it in there, and that's when Jeff Clark, big dude, he was the motor guy on the Bud 8 car at that time, and next thing you know, he's got me and Martin like this walking into victory lane, and we go to victory lane.
Did he have you on the ground or off the ground?
Both.
His hands are bigger than TJ's head.
Yeah, and he's carrying me and Martin in there. But yeah, no, I've been around Martin a lot. He's been a good friend. I mean, when he drove down here, he had a company truck, didn't drive it half the time. I mean, my car broke down or whatever. He let me use his company truck for a couple weeks at a time. I mean, he didn't. Martin, can I borrow your truck? Yeah, I don't care. I mean, he's just real quiet. I mean, laid back guy. I love to fish, hunt. But he's been. I mean, me, him, and Dale Jr. used to sit in that computer room and race till probably 2, 3 in the morning a lot. We'd come back. He'd get back on Saturdays a lot. We'd get back on Sundays, and man, Martin would already be in there. I mean, we'd get in the door, and I mean, we'd be home fairly early than we are now, and we'd get in the door, and Martin would be like, all right, let's race. I'm like, damn, man, we just got back, dude. And but no, Martin's been a good friend, and it's been fun to watch him grow from where he started.
This is where it gets hard. Excuse me. It's guys like him are going to just disappear. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be a guy that retires, and you might not ever see him again.
I mean, he says he's not, but I don't believe him.
He did say JGR has Xfinity cars. So
I mean, Danny said he's got a ride anytime he wants at our place. But like, I don't believe him. Like,
I don't believe him either.
Is he going to pull a Carl Edwards?
I mean, if there's a way for him to come back and race, I can see that happening. But otherwise, it's no different than Ricky Rudd or Elliott Sadler or any of the rest of them. Like when they quit racing, you never see them again.
I mean, absolutely, obviously Hall of Fame career. And
thanks to his move when he left MWR, which he was kind of forced to leave there, obviously with what happened there with the team shutting down. But when he left MWR and he went out to Denver, Colorado with Furniture Row, holy, life-changing. And I didn't see that coming
people
either.
thought he was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's impressive what they did with Furniture Row. They formed the alliance with JGR, and then they started beating
JGR's butt.
and then JGR got tired of it and said, just come over here and drive now. It's been what they built with Furniture Row and what they did there, winning the championship. It's really impressive.
I don't remember what year it was, but it was around 2016 when he started. Like he'd win a race every year or 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden it's like 4 wins, 6 wins, boom, boom, champion. And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
And never, I don't ever remember Martin getting into a fight.
No.
Ever. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he just didn't give a You know what I mean? Like that's his personality. Like, whatever.
He got mad one time. He only got mad that one time.
Like even then, it was just he won the battle. I'm going to win the war. All right. That's the most controversial thing that happened in Martin's career.
You know what's crazy though is he's been like angry on the radio and stuff, but he's never just
gone and wrecked somebody or
maybe he will start now.
Maybe remember Clint? Clint said Clint last race he said like I'm going to Phoenix. I'm gonna wreck every mother that's ever wrecked me.
Hey, are you gonna do Clint's truck race?
No.
Funny enough, I get a text from Clint. It's something about doing the truck race. He's like, "Can you believe Brett said no?" I was like, "Yes." Have you not listened to the podcast? Do you not know the quote? Truck.
That's what. If there was a T-shirt that Brett could wear,
I told him that I will be sitting in a bar cheering him on very loudly, but I will not be at the Nashville racetrack for that truck race.
It's Nashville.
It's
Nashville.
It's Nashville.
So is that the only reason why? Because you'd rather go out on Broadway?
I would rather not go to the racetrack and it start raining and me sit there for 4 hours for a rain delay, or it'd be 150. Casey, I'm semi-retired for a reason. And it ain't to go truck racing with anybody.
Okay, whatever you say.
I love Clint, and I hope he didn't get upset. It sounds like he might have.
He might have been a little upset.
But I was like,
so Freddie, are you going to spot for him?
Here's exactly the way the conversation went. Hey, man, what are you doing? Nothing. Hey, you see I'm going to run a truck race? Yeah. Man, you won't believe all I had to do to be able to run this truck race. Yeah, okay. You going to come spot for me? And I said, no.
What truck's he running?
And he said, are you serious? And I said, yes. And then he texts Freddie. That was it.
You're
my
ridiculous.
gosh.
Ridiculous.
Maybe Nick can do it and get a win, get spoiled some more.
So I got a new word for Nick. So Bodie's obviously a baseball player. He comes home from practice. He's like,
I hope it's a nice word.
He's like, Dad, the coach was glazing Colt today.
Glazing?
Glazing.
That's probably not a good idea.
And I was like, Bodie, I don't know the context of glazing. Do you know the context of glazing? Jay, you're younger.
I hope not.
So I'm like, what does that mean, Bodie? He's like, it means he's meat riding him. I was like, meat. My kid's 11. What? I'm like, what do you mean he's meat riding him? He's like, he's like on his jock. And I'm like, Bodie, like what are you talking about? He's like, Dad, like he's kissing his butt. And I was like, oh. So now we can say that Nick is glazing.
So I can say Nick is glazing and meat riding. Is that what we're getting at?
This is going to work out really well.
Nick's going to. He's not driving when he hears this.
He's not going to talk to me for a year. I mean, I told you I saw him on the roof.
But if you have a kid that's like in this 11 to 14, don't ask them what glazing is, because I wish I'd never asked.
Hold on a minute.
Don't Google it.
No.
Would not recommend that.
Incognito.
All right.
All right. Spot on, spot off. After a caution was called on lap 182 for Daniel Hemrick blowing a tire, Christopher Bell's crew chief Adam Stevens said, "That was the most ridiculous bullshit caution I have ever seen in my life." Freddie.
I didn't know that. I saw somebody say something the quote was, but I didn't know what the quote was exactly until you just said it. Listen, I thought that was a great caution. I don't know. I don't know what TJ. I know you probably agree with me.
It's the best caution I've ever seen. But here's what I want to go back to: 2022. The car, we blow a tire leading the race at Bristol with 50 to go. We have to ride around, stuck on the high side. Can't get down, no caution. Short few laps later, the 20 car blows a tire and gets right down onto the apron, put it out. He continues on and runs almost for the win of the race. That was more of probably a BS caution than this one. Honestly, they're probably about the same because they probably neither one of them warranted a caution. But
there was enough going on during that run that could have been a caution. I thought the 43 was much more likely to be the 43 blows a tire, I assume, off of 2 and is kind of creeping down the back straightaway. He's not stopped.
I was worried about him because his pace was so slow.
He was so slow.
He did a really good job.
He did a good job of hooking to the bottom and getting down. But like we talked about that at Bristol, which this was a different race director than Bristol. I know Dale, harped on that. Like different guys are going to make different calls. And I had just got done. We were running long, And once I saw there was like 3 or 4 guys that cut a tire. There was like 71, I think the 34. The 43 was the one I thought was going to be a caution because he was going so slow down the back straightaway against the wall, still had to cross lanes of traffic. And I'm like, once I seen him get to the apron and they didn't throw the yellow, I told our guys, I was like, this is like Bristol. They're not going to throw it unless something happens. Like something big is going to have to happen for them to throw it. And damned if I wasn't wrong. Because 2 minutes later,
it looked like it was going to get big, but it quickly fixed itself.
The only thing I think that I will say in their defense is I'm pretty sure the 31 was the only one that had contact with the wall, or at least stayed in the wall. You know, like I don't know if the 43 and them guys hit the wall and came off, but the 31 got in the fence and kind of stayed in the fence a little bit and then kind of came down. That was the only difference from the other 3 or 4 incidents that were going on. And I get it. We're joking around that we loved it because it benefited us greatly. Adam, they were on pit road when this happened. They were leaving pit road as the yellow came out. So obviously he's going to be much more frustrated about it than anybody else.
But I mean, at a race like that, there's a lot of tire problems going on, and they're on the other side of the shoe, or other side of the foot, whatever. They're trying to be aggressive, going
other side of the foot,
whatever.
Other side of the shoes foot. On the other foot.
Yeah, whatever it is. They want the short runs. So
funny.
Blake said that Hemrick just glazed the wall.
He's glazing.
But the thing that this comes back to something we've talked about on here 1,000 times is, you know, they
meat riding.
I don't know. they say that they don't want to throw a yellow during a pit cycle, which again I can't stand because what's going on pit road should not affect what's a caution and what's not a caution on the racetrack. I think, in my opinion,
I think they do. I think, and maybe Brett might not agree with this.
I agree with whatever you say.
Thanks. I think they do a good job letting the races play out. If a guy just gets these tires give you a warning, and you go up the racetrack, you might not hit anything. They give you that benefit of not destroying your car. We'll get to pit road still. You shouldn't. If we did that for every time somebody had would all just stack everything we could with speed in the car like that. And, you know what I mean?
I think it was AJ Allmendinger that
AJ had a hard weekend.
Yeah, well, he said Saturday was no warning and obviously a massive hit.
Yeah.
And he was worried about his kahunas that he hit so hard.
Did they check out?
I don't know. He asked Tara to check him out. He said on the interview. And I can't believe
God, that's so funny.
Headed today. He said on the next day that it gave him a lap warning, so he kind of knew it. But yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And listen, as this incident started to happen, and the angle that Noah was at, it looked like it could get big real fast. And I think that was probably where the committee made a decision really quick on that one. I'll give them credit for that. And
let me tell you something that came out of this caution that I thought was a bold move, and I loved every second of it.
I might have something better, but go ahead.
Ricky Stenhouse stays out on 100-lap old tires and burns like half the field. And
on a wave.
And traps them on they couldn't wave because he stayed out. I mean, and it ruined Reddick's night. It ruined Briscoe's night. You never saw those guys got back up. They waved around back to lead lap finally with like maybe, I don't know, 100 to go or so.
Yeah.
And then, but they had a pit at the end when nobody else did because they were going to be short on fuel because they took the wave around.
But Ricky is taking an insurance policy out on himself.
Yeah.
Mike Kelly is.
Mike Kelly made a great call because they don't even care where they finish in that stage. They've just know that they've just trapped half the field a lap down.
That was move of the race, probably, like strategy-wise.
And I mean, I don't think it's a direct result of why they finished in the top 5. They had a great run. By the way, shout out to Lauren from NAS. We got our sugar-free NAS packages here on the counter. They had a big suite there, I think, with a bunch of people
saving us.
But they come out there with a top 5, and that's, I'm sure. I mean, it definitely contributed. I don't think it's the sole reason why they got top 5. They had decent speed at the end, but it definitely contributed to it.
So I got my question with that. We're right behind the 31 when this happens. I see him hit the wall, and he's against the wall. We kind of go by him. Well, he speeds back up and gets between. We're leading the race and gets between us and the pace car. Now, I don't understand this. That's not a position you can be in. You're not on the lead lap, and I have no idea. Like, they open pit road with him behind the pace car in front of us. We're leading the race, and we're coming down pit road behind the 31.
This guy's in front of you,
and I'm like, okay. So we pit. He's a lap down already, and we come back out. What shouldn't he?
It should be 2 down.
Well, he should be under penalty for pitting too soon because he's not on the lap. He's not.
So he pitted with you?
He got a penalty, I think. I
No, he
remember.
didn't. But no, it gets better. He comes out right with everybody else, right in the mix of all the leaders right there. He chooses, and coming to the green flag, they drop him.
So that messes up
screws the choose up.
Well, not to mention, as a leader, you want that little bit of an advantage coming down pit road. Not that it's much, but but good Lord.
I think we beat you off pit road. We came on your bumper, but we beat you.
Glazed their bumper.
Glazed your bumper.
Also,
Jesus Christ.
Listen, tell me what David Hoos would have done.
No secrets on here today.
We have there's a caution during Freddie's 50-minute practice, and we're all sitting on pit road down there. They're cleaning the racetrack. We're sitting there for a few minutes.
The caution during practice, which don't tell me the one.
No, not the one. I'm talking about how am I talking about the 31? What everything's just the workers around the track. Next thing you know, here goes the 30. It's the 31.
Oh God! Rolls
off pit road and just go I'm gonna go back to the garage area, and they're working down in 3 and 4 where the accident scene, whatever it was, and he just rolls off, and we're like, back in the day that'd have been like, oh, I need to.
He probably been done practicing.
That's just something you don't do, and nothing really was ever said about it. But you can talk about the one if you want.
Might save that for a different time.
It's like a 30-minute practice.
A different segment of the show.
Segment of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after getting into Kyle Larson and essentially ending his day, Daniel Suarez said, "I don't think that was my fault." TJ, spot on, spot off.
Have you looked at the date on this one?
You know TJ was directly involved, right? TJ was the one that caused it.
We're the one that caused it.
The second interview said the 6 and the 5 crowded him.
We must. I mean, I don't need.
You want to know how fired up TJ was about this? He texted me when I was on the plane about it last night with pictures, and I was like, because I didn't know. I saw one.
Already landed.
My buddies at the Black Flag podcast.
So you're Team Suarez this week.
Yeah. Sure. Oh my gosh!
My buddies at the Black Flag podcast tweeted out Daniel Suarez says that wasn't my fault when it absolutely was only your fault. So I was dying laughing, and we were on the bottom of it, and I knew it was live. I knew what happened, but
the best thing was he said on the broadcast via his in-car radio that sometimes you shouldn't go in the middle, and sometimes when you do, there are consequences.
That's what he said.
That's the picture. That's the middle of the corner.
It's going to be consequences if you just run into it. Maybe that's what he meant. He didn't like being put 3 wide.
He said sometimes you shouldn't go in the middle, and when you do, there's going to be consequences.
I saw people or heard people questioning Larson for making that move, and I'm like, listen, first of all, that's Kyle Larson. That he's going to take every opportunity. The guy had the fastest car.
The move was questionable. When you have the best car, that move's probably not necessary. But that's Larson.
That's Larson. That's what you're going to get. And it would have been fine if the 99 didn't run into him. You know what I mean? He had plenty of room up to you. You had plenty of room to the wall. Yeah, everybody's got room except for the 99 coming up the racetrack and driving into the side of Larson. So you can say the move was risky, and maybe that's the risky part of you got to know who you're making that move on. Maybe some guys are not going to give you the room you expect, but that was a move that should have worked, and it didn't because the 99 ran into the side of him.
The only person that drove into the side of somebody worse all weekend was in the ARCA race when that
Swallowage.
When he just kept driving into Connor. I was like, what the are you doing, dude? Literally, you look like a fool right now.
In the turn one there, it was there's a corner there.
Two things I wanted to mention with the ARCA race. First of all, shout out to Eric Brennan for doing a fantastic job in the booth. I thought he did amazing.
I trained him well.
Brett and Eric had decided that over a beer at my table. But that deal with Swallowage, and then he gets out, and I think it was Heather DeBow was interviewing him, and she's like, what was that? Basically, what were you doing? And he made a comment about, I lost all the respect for him when he jumped the restart. And I'm like, and then she literally said, oh, so that's why you were running into him essentially? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, what? This was I get it. If you want to take a shot at a guy one time, you go there and ride it. But he run to the side of him, Then he got clear. Then he went into 3 and just drove through the back of him. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I literally thought he was going to send him to the hospital. I was like, what are we watching?
I can't believe they didn't wreck.
Now y'all know why I can't spot them races.
Shout out Connor Zillich, Butterbean again this week. Come on to DBC, you win races. That's all I'm telling you.
By the way, Casey, I've never been more spot off
in my pocket
than for your question there, by the way.
Thank you. This might be a first time. Might be.
Oh.
Moving on. Iowa's first Cup event proves they deserve a second Cup date, but before we go back, they need to finish paving the track. Brett.
Spot off. I don't think anywhere deserves 2 dates.
No.
Not a two.
2025.
Going back next
meaning
year.
like next year.
It says deserve a second Cup date. So you're saying like go back again next
second,
year.
Yeah, like a
I'm
return visit.
spot on. 100%. We got to go back to Iowa. I wouldn't touch the racetrack. I mean, it is what it is. I think it put on. Listen, man. I mean, you sit here and you say Larson shouldn't have made it 3 wide. Well, people that paid $100 a ticket deserve for Larson to make it 3 wide. And I apologize to anybody that doesn't think he, including Daniel Suarez, that thinks he shouldn't have made it 3 wide. The job of a race is to go as fast as you can. And if there's a whole sticky car in it, right? So great racetrack. I love the Midwest. I love that we had such a big presence in the agriculture, belt, so to speak, when we went to Kansas and we went to Joliet and we went to Road America. That's a lot of Midwestern presence. And we lost Joliet and we lost Road America. This is awesome to be in Iowa, and I'm here for it. Caitlin Clark and NASCAR. That's what Iowa does.
I don't know where you're at. I disagree with Brett. I think they should finish paving it because that place was. I think you just paved the corners. I think you just finish to the wall in the corners and make it at least make it even on the exit, so one lane doesn't have a 2-car length more longer patch than the other. But I think that place is always built on the progressive banking. That was one of the tracks I think we went to first with the progressive banking, and that in Homestead that really shined. And I think that if you do that, I think obviously the concern would be maybe the groove just moves up to the highest part of the banking, but you don't know that. We thought this race was going to be single file, so I think. The higher you move it up, the more options you give guys, the more area you get to get away from somebody, find clean air. I think it'll only help, and plus it'll look a lot better than it does because it looks like
it looks funny on TV. They do the aerial shot, and you're like, man, that looks weird.
But I would just want to see it. Let's use all that. We talk about Texas, all those lanes we can't use. Right now, at both ends, you have 2 or 3 lanes you can't use.
NASCAR on racetrack. Surprised it took so long to get there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because the truck races and the Xfinity races that we've had there have been really good. And I'll say this. They had we were all worried about traffic yesterday and zero issues.
So the in and out was easy.
Seemed to be.
Well, I haven't seen. We obviously we get there pretty quick. But I never saw any complaint. Usually if it's bad, Twitter will light up. I never saw any complaints about it. I got right out. I had no problem.
I kept checking
obviously.
the traffic because I was like, is it getting bad yet? And man, it rolled good. I don't think they missed on anything. I think their racing product was good. The fan engagement out there, the Midway was packed all weekend.
Great Midway.
Yeah, it was packed all weekend. There was a lot of activation there. It was good.
I met a lot of DBC fans. I met a lot of DBC fans in Knoxville, which I was surprised about. A lot of couch racer shirts in Knoxville. We're in the wrong market. We got to go dirt racing, by the way.
Awesome.
But fans from all over the place. I mean, it's like, you're off from, I'm like, oh, where are you guys from? And it was South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, wherever it was. I'm like, damn, we're drawing all kinds of markets here. So, I mean, it was good to meet that many fans from a different area.
Should they add seats?
I don't think so. I mean, it was a good crowd for what they had. The suites in turn 1 were great.
Did you see them suites in turn 1?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know.
IndyCar went there and did such a bang up job. I was like, we got to go here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we finally did.
I do think you repave. I do think you finish it and let it widen out naturally as it progresses and stuff. But I also don't think I feel like sometimes if you start adding a bunch of seats, then it just creates. I think you leave it.
Make it a hot ticket.
Yeah,
I mean, what was the crowd yesterday? Did they say?
I'd say 40,000 looking at it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
make it a big deal. Like make people
20,000. Yeah,
want to travel there.
I had a couple of water, so everything was double.
He was seeing double for the. I don't know.
Well, I started at lunch and had a couple beers, and I was like, I got to slow down. So I took a nap.
When I saw a tweet of your big cup, I was like, he's never gonna make it. He's not even gonna see the race. It's a late start.
I made it.
We are going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll shift gears to Reaction Theater.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where it's your turn to be heard. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans as low as $20 a month.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details. Let's go to the calls.
I'm going to start this off by saying you guys are the best podcast out there. I listen to you religiously every Monday night or Tuesday at work, but that might have to stop here shortly or I'm going to cut a finger off or one of my machines up from laughing so hard. Crying last week after the Sonoma episode. You guys were unreal talking about this that beating drowning in some I think the show needs to be sponsored by coolers. That might make everything just about perfect. Anyways, keep up the good work, and I'll try to control myself and keep all my here when I listen to you guys.
Yeah,
Take care. Cheers.
Yeah, don't cut anything off.
So
bud.
listen, I heard, speaking of losing digits, Blake shared with me that it wasn't a digit. Well, I guess it could be considered a digit. Somebody had a firework accident and lost a pretty important part of their body at the Cars Tour race.
The whole thing?
I don't know.
They're do funny.
They're due funny, Don.
No,
We didn't. There's a.
Is it confirmed?
There's a.
he blew his do funny off.
Hey,
What about his tank?
Jeez,
that's a tough deal. We gotta get more
That's
details.
bad.
like
That's real
Lorena
bad.
Bobbitt blew it off.
I don't know.
And you said
I
this
just heard
is
a rumor.
firework?
A firework incident. Oh, tough. That's a tough break. No,
Thoughts and prayers.
What kind of firework? Good Lord.
That's a move. No pun intended.
Jesus.
We need to move on now.
All right, next call.
Did it?
Hey, first-time caller, long-time lurker. You know, with all this talk of an international race, NASCAR is really missing out on a big opportunity. One word, Madagascar. You know, some new eyes, some new people, and the perfect social media chance. Hashtag MadaNASCAR.
Oh, okay.
That was funny.
Yeah, NASCAR. What is up with all these Sunday night races? Tell me that.
That's a long
Monday
pause.
ain't a holiday. It ain't Independence Day. It ain't Memorial Day. It ain't Labor Day. Why are we having races on Sunday night? Don't you know by now I like to drink beer on Sunday afternoons and watch the race? I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning on Monday. I can't drink till the wee hours of the night.
Is this you?
I ain't getting up at 4:30 if I pee in the bed, bro.
What time did the race end here?
Late.
I think it was like 10 o'clock or something. I think it was close to 10.
Race ended for Brett about 8:30.
I think 10:30 or
Listen,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I am on board with this guy. Like, I want to start at 1 o'clock Eastern every week, but it's 100 degrees outside. And I remember races at St. Louis, man. You know, you run in the middle of the day, people are falling out in the stands from dehydration. Like, I don't want our fans to suffer. Gosh, man, it's a double-edged sword.
I agree.
Just take the summer off. Just don't even race during the summer. Just take a month off.
Well, I don't think they're going to listen to you for next
Summer's
year.
longer than a month.
Yeah. Month of July off would be nice.
August is pretty hot, too.
No, not if you go certain places.
You don't think we should have more Saturday night races?
Well, the problem is the ratings. The ratings suck on Saturday night.
So do you think they did the Sunday night to not have to compete with the U.S. Open? Because if I'm a casual sports fan, I'm probably watching the end
Or
of
the
US
Olympic
Open.
trials.
I don't know how anybody can sit around and watch golf. Like, I love
A
golf.
lot of people do it.
I like to watch the highlights,
yeah.
but to sit there for 4 hours and watch golf,
Some people
I
say the
just
same
seem to
thing.
run my ass across a cheese grater.
The golf fans say the same thing about NASCAR.
I know, but I can't just sit there.
So you didn't watch any of that U.S. Open yesterday?
Not a swing.
Choking down the stretch?
Not a swing, Jay.
He did choke.
What did you three idiots unleash when you said you missed the songs in Reaction Theater? Some of these folks can't hold a tune like Freddie's buddy can't hold his liquor at Big Al's. Y'all have got some awful voices.
Was that Jonathan Davis?
It sounded like John Davis.
What was that guy's name that puked?
Oh, yeah. Bobby Timmons taking strays in the reaction
Bobby
theater this
Timmons.
week.
Yeah. Catching shade.
Hey, NASCAR. Welcome to Iowa. This race brought to you by Half-Ass
fault paving. That's right, half-ass fault paving. We don't have time to pave the whole track. We'll just do a half-ass fault job. You want tire wear? Well, hold my corn.
That guy had like a commentator voice.
Yeah,
He did.
He sounded like the old like movie trailer guy. You used to call up movie trying to get movie times, movie phone whatever. Movie phone. Listen, it was time, right? That's what they said. They ran out of time. Like they announced it late. Gluck wrote an article about it. Jordan was supposed to send it to me. Obviously forgot because he doesn't like me anymore or something. I think it was. They said it just time related. That's what they can get done in the amount of time they had.
Speaking of time related, I saw Ford finally added their logo to their race car.
Yeah, what the hell have they been doing?
That was brilliant.
Who thought? Who would have thunk it? Put your logo on something.
Yeah.
Great PR play.
But you know what? They waited to start running better. they're like, we're hauling ass now. We put our name back on there.
Maybe they started the season. They were like, hey, let's wait and see how we do because if we ain't very good, we don't really want our name on this thing. And it's like, okay, we're good.
Who's that horse car?
Go ahead and slap that
Which
on
one of you
there.
idiots were saying it's time to panic? Wasn't that you?
I was saying it's time to put the Ford logo on, but now I see why they waited. I'm kidding.
Yeah, this message is for TJ if he's there today. Don't know if he'll make it in.
I haven't missed a show yet this year.
That Charger might be a little effed up there on your powered car there, but I'll be dipped. You're going to have to, yell at Kyle Larson there didn't even see you guys outside. That was part of your strategy, TJ. Come on.
Damn it, Larson.
Yeah, Kyle. What are you doing? Stop pinching us.
Finally, that son of a Martin Truex Jr. is retiring. Good riddance, you
Jeez.
Who the doesn't like Martin Truex?
Good.
Apparently that guy.
Well, yeah.
Who could he be a fan of that he doesn't like Truex?
He's a Logano fan.
I guess.
Martin
doesn't not get along with anybody.
I don't know.
Except for lap cars every once in a while. He didn't like them.
Or the actual car.
Martin's easy to spot for. I did a few races in Xfinity with him, and he's an easy guy to spot for.
I've done one race with Martin as well.
Tell John Hunter Nemechek to park his ass back in the infield where he belongs. That some can't drive a damn taxi cab, let alone a race car.
That's a Noah Gragson fan for sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty big wreck.
John Hunter, man, he is. I don't know if he's just on a mission. I think to piss everybody. Like
he needs to come on the show for some good luck. Or something.
He was running. He had some contact on Saturday with a bunch of guys. Then Sunday he just went in there. He had shallowed his entry up and was charging entry really hard. And then it just looked like he just washed up into the 10 and turned him around. They're all lucky they didn't wreck worse. But yeah, he's always been very aggressive and he's staying true to form.
Boys, I ain't getting out of the tub. We're staying in the tub, and we're partying. The women's on the way. The beer's cold. It's Father's Day. I'm calling in to work tomorrow. Woo-hoo! Go 12.
The women's is on the way to the tub. What was it last week? They were all backing in or something? Didn't they do something?
Yeah, they were backing into the tub.
Backing into the tub. That'd be fun.
Well, how about a little throwback to the old NASCAR race hub, Jimmy Spencer crying towel edition. Oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing that. And anybody who out there thought Ford wasn't going to win or not make, a comeback at least at some point in the season has never watched a NASCAR race ever. Come on, just go cry in a towel, get pied in the face by Brad Keselowski. Have a Coke and a smile, and shut the up.
Oh.
Very aggressive.
This guy needs a minute.
Yeah. He needs to get in the tub.
Oh, well, if you would like to send us an audio message, you know the drill. Caller number 704-802-9572.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brett Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the number 6 car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing knows speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular. TJ, Brad's back in the Consumer Cellular scheme for Nashville on June 30th. I know you're looking forward to seeing that bright orange car back on the track again.
Oh, yeah. There'll be no missing Brad on track in Nashville in that scheme. I'm hoping we can manage another top 5 like the last time we ran this scheme earlier in the year at Phoenix. Consumer Cellular has award-winning, 100% U.S.-based customer service centers, so you can always get the help that you need. It's like having your pit crew right when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as the leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month. There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it. But we'll bet you love it.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of free service. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details.
Moving on to Ask DBC. This first one is from Zach. Do you think no shifting in Iowa was a major reason we had such a great race?
I mean, probably didn't hurt. I didn't really think about it, but
broadcast was mentioning it.
I don't know that it played a huge factor, but it certainly didn't hurt anything, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, with the speeds we were carrying there, I don't think I think it would have hurt the product if we were shifting for sure. But
have we ever seen it help the product? The shifting?
No.
At ovals, I should say.
No.
Yeah.
To me, like, they have so much grip there. If they started slowing this, and this could be a problem if we start, having tire wear as well. But you start slowing down, guys are going to start shifting. And I don't know with a repave if we're going to have enough, to really spin the tires and hurt them. I don't know. I definitely don't think shifting. I like the not shifting part of things for sure.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
This next one is from Ben. How seriously should we be taking Justin Haley? He just scored another top 15 for Ware Racing. And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but safe to say he's in it for the long haul.
I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, he's just outperforming anything anybody's ever done in that car before. I mean, by a lot. It's not like they're just backing into top 10s or caught a caution, and he ran top 10 the whole first stage. Then they had a pit road penalty. I think that
came back from that.
Put him back, and he drove back to the front, and he ran. I mean, he was top 10, 12 speed all day long. I don't even know where he finished, but
he finished 13th.
Yeah, he was. That's kind of, he just ran there all day long, and those cars never did that. You know what I mean?
No.
And he's done that consistently over the last month. Really, I think.
Yeah, he's been fast at Darlington. He was fast at Wilkesboro at the All-Star race.
Wilkesboro, Bristol, the other race at Bristol where we had tire concerns. He was fast there.
I like what they're doing there. This is kind of what we thought could happen, and it's actually coming true now. They're running good, and they went out and made moves to get people. They got Justin in there. They got a new crew chief in there, Chris Lawson, and
they spent some money.
Yeah, and what I like is I think what they're doing. If I'm Justin, I consider staying there. You're building us because once you find momentum like this, and you start figuring out how things are working and what you need to make, and obviously we have alliance with RFK, which obviously we've had some decent speed here the last couple months. I mean, I like what they're doing. I think Justin and them and Robbie and everyone there is doing a great job, and hopefully they continue to build on it.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at him in the points, obviously he's 30th, which
give him a lot of points back. He got disqualified.
Absolutely, that hurt, but he's still ahead of Colleague Racing, RCR, and the Wood Brothers / Penske. So, man, great season, and I think it goes back to Rick Ware agreeing to invest more money in the team, and he started that concept when he went out and hired Justin Haley. I mean, you knew you were going to have a higher caliber of driver than has been in your cars in a long time from a full-time perspective, and you have a chance to truly go out and build something and evaluate, are we getting better? Are we getting faster? Are we qualifying, higher, and are we finishing higher? And the answer is yes. So no matter what Justin does, if he stays there or goes, certainly sounds like he's going somewhere else. Rick is now in a position to go out and acquire a driver with talent, because I don't know how many people last year in the garage, if you had surveyed, would have said, I want to get in that car. And now I feel like you're attractive.
It almost reminds me of that 78 car for a while. You know, the 78 car was kind of just, you know, all right, he's out here for a while. Then Regan got in it. Regan won the Southern 500.
Yep.
Then, you know, Kurt got in there for a little while. Then Martin got in there and obviously took off with it. You know, but like, would guys like Kurt and Martin get in there if Regan doesn't win a race? You know, so it's definitely making it more. And listen, honestly, you know, we talked about earlier the rumors of him getting in the 21 car. When was the last time the 21 beat the 51? Or outran, I should say, at least outran the 51 this year. You know what I mean? And I know you've talked about it. The 21, I mean, I love them guys. John Wood, congrats to him for taking on. You know, he's become the president over there. He's going to take over, and I'm sure he's going to try to right the ship. It's never run even really compared to the other Penske cars, which has, you know, some kind of alliance there. It's never really. Blaney was the last one to win, and he won one time. And I think, did they say the next person? Or Bain won the 500.
Won the 500.
But that other than that was, I think, Elliott
Sadler in
2001.
2001, Bristol. Yeah.
So to TJ's point, if you were in Justin's shoes, would you consider staying and not taking that opportunity?
Probably not. The problem that I think I would, and I don't, I always get because I talk about this team and they cry about it all the time. The depth of equipment would be an issue. It's probably the main reason why. I think Justin basically has two cars he races.
He said he has two cars.
You know, and
this is obviously his good one.
Yeah, there's one good one that he runs. I mean, and he, that would be my concern. That would be my main reason for leaving would be, you know, you have a wealth of equipment when you go to a place like the 21 or RFK.
But, I mean, that doesn't seem to be paying off.
Well,
you know, and if you keep finishing top 15, you're going to get more cars. You're going to get, your equipment's going to, they really haven't been in a position right now. If I'm him, I stay right where I'm at. I've got a good crew chief. I've got somebody that took a chance on me, invested in me. They're bringing pieces in. I would build on that. I mean, they obviously, what makes you know, fast cars help, and
fast cars go fast.
They're utilizing their alliance. They got a good driver in there. They're bringing good people in there to make, you know, use that equipment and their skill sets. I would keep building because you got three good pieces right now. You got a car that's fast. You got a crew chief that's aggressive and going after it, and you got a driver that can do it too. Not in management going out there and doing this. I mean, now I keep building onto that and bringing more. You know, hey, it makes the cars are a whole lot easier to take to the track when you bring them back and they're not tore up and they're, you know what I mean. And that's what they've been doing. They've been bringing these things back and fine tuning them, and they're learning tons every week. And man, I don't know. I think I would continue to build for another year. I would continue to build on it.
Should be interesting. Justin, another Justin, had a great question. Chase Elliott is back at the top of the regular season point standing. Does that make him a legit championship contender?
I think for what I was going to I had this in my notes to ask you guys. Like, it's funny. Yes, the answer is he's obviously legit. He's got the best average finish. He's running the best he has in a long time. But when was the last time, like, if I asked you right now who your championship favorite was, it's not going to be Chase Elliott, right? I mean,
no. I mean, he only has 6 playoff points. He will get 15 if he wins regular season. But no, it's not Chase
I mean,
Elliott.
it's probably not. I mean, I would have to say
Kyle
Denny
Larson.
and Larson are the two that would, you know,
hands down.
You know, and
William.
when is the last time like the point leader wasn't the, you know, what I mean, the guy's dominating the season. Usually the guy like, oh yeah, you know, he's a shoo-in for the. I wouldn't even say he's a shoo-in for the Final Four, and he's leading the points. But you know, it's just it's a tricky thing, and I don't know if it's just because you expect a lot out of Chase. He's expected to win more. That's the biggest knock. He's not winning, but he's finishing. Obviously, got the best average finish. He's finishing up front every week. It just needs to capitalize on wins.
He's in the single digits all race every week.
All right, well, don't forget, use hashtag AskDBC to submit your questions on X. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll turn to our always entertaining segment, What an Idiot. Freddie, would you like to kick things off?
I want to ask a question first.
Oh, no.
Did Matt Weaver eat a piece of paper?
What?
Matt Weaver, did he eat a piece of paper?
Like with sauce or ketchup?
I don't know. Did he?
It was on the Twitter that he said if something happens, I'll eat a piece of paper. And
it happened.
I guess he ate a piece of paper.
You never ate paper before?
A whole sheet of paper? No.
I think Chloe did last night, actually, on that note.
How do you even eat paper?
Just go ahead, try it.
No.
So is that you're an idiot?
I mean, if he ate paper, he's an idiot.
He's probably having a,
I mean, how do you poop paper?
Oh, God.
Seriously?
How do you
Going
pass
there?
it? You can't. I
You
mean,
don't think it's digestible?
I mean,
biodegradable?
I mean.
Anyway.
Freddie.
So I really didn't have a what an idiot this week, so there's a couple guys I want to pick on. First one is TJ.
Oh.
Do you know TJ wore a cool shirt yesterday?
Heck yeah.
During the race.
During the race, him and Herm had these things hooked to the railing, and they were, I mean, I guess they're not idiots because they were probably much cooler than I was.
Yeah,
but I feel like I don't think I want to carry
I feel like
all
we're
this.
outsmarting.
I feel like they should be illegal for the drivers to wear them.
What? Why?
I think you're an idiot for
You
saying
are an
that.
idiot.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I didn't, and I've always been like, when the driver says, my cool suit quit working, I've always been like, what a wuss, man. I understand the difference in temperature now because
Dale Earnhardt didn't have no cool suit.
Well, he also
Right.
had windows the side of this
Neil
table
Bonnet-
on the side of the
Neil
car
Bonnet-
too.
Neil Bonnet didn't have no cool
Same
suit.
windows. Anyway.
Carl
Yeah.
Edwards didn't have no cool suit.
By the way, Freddie, what size are you? You want to get one?
We've gotten away from being a blue collar sport, and these guys wearing cool suits just.
Well, it's more for their safety.
I had two more. Listen, might just give it to you. But not again, not an idiot, but I just there's something about it I don't like. I don't like the Superman celebration from Mayer. I don't.
You don't
know.
think he's Superman?
I don't think he's Superman.
What comic? What guys? What superhero is
I
Sam?
don't know.
Dude, he's won 6 of the last 29 races in Xfinity.
I just don't.
So
I don't know why. I don't like it.
I had this as a note to bring up because he did make a few comments around not being considered for some of the Cup rides. Do you feel he should be now with his runs?
Surprised he didn't get a shot of that 19 car.
He didn't like his interview when he referenced the fact that he I forget the language he used. I was like, that might be part of the problem.
It was not very well.
And listen, he's doing a great job. No, I'm not going to knock him. He's doing a year ago, rewind a year ago, he was crashing a lot and he was making a lot of mistakes. He has corrected a lot of that. He was very aggressive on Saturday, but he has corrected that. And like TJ said, he has won a bunch in the last, the second half of last year and the beginning of this year. He's done a really good job. But man, I don't know. I have a hard time with Superman.
This is where I don't understand the JRM approach to the charter. Is you have a Sam Mayer and you have a Sammy Smith. Both are assumed to have very deep pockets. And so for you to go out and start a Cup team, you need a cornerstone partner. When you look at Dale Earnhardt, DEI, when they started the team with Michael Waltrip, they went to Napa and said, hey, we need you to leave Ron Hornaday in trucks, and we need you to come with us with Michael Waltrip to Cup. And they said yes. So, when I look at that scenario going over there at JRM and as it pertains to charters, why don't you go to one of those two? Because they're both really rich, right? Mm-hmm. Aren't they?
I don't know. I mean, Sammy's not rich, but Sammy has connections to
money.
To money.
So, I mean, when you look at what 2311 is allegedly about to do with their third charter and who they're about to do it with and the sponsorship they're doing it with, that's to help subsidize the cost of starting the third team. So I don't know why Jerry wouldn't do that, but I've not paid a lot of attention to his superhero antics. I'll have to pay more attention.
I think my thing with the celebration afterwards is Riley was obviously not happy with him. And they really didn't have any run-ins at the end of the race. But earlier in the race, Sam's like, I don't know why he's really mad at me or whatever. Well, Sam, when you get onto the corner and you wash a guy all the way to the wall pretty much, he's probably not going to be very happy.
Not going to be pumped.
And, yeah, I mean, and honestly, he ran you really clean for how you raced him earlier. So, and Riley had a really good run, too. That Xfinity race was exciting.
So he's won 6 of the last 29?
That's what I saw.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's big.
Did you see the only other one I wanted to mention was turn 1 pretty early. I don't know what Spire on Spire crime.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It looked like Carson got in there, got free, running to Zane. Zane turned to 7. I was like, ooh, that's a tough look. Not a good shop photo.
That one might get blown up, put on in the shop wall.
So Sam Mayer's 10th in points in Xfinity, so certainly not.
Well, he had they're beginning of the year.
Let me tell you something. I feel bad for this kid. I don't know if he's got to go find somebody's horseshoe. Brandon Jones can't catch. I mean, this kid can't catch him. His last 3 finishes are 36, 38th, and 36th.
And he's
out of the
been
playoffs.
so
Out of the playoffs, and probably at the point where he's got to win now.
He's got to win. Yeah, he's 16th. They only take, or 15th. They only take 12.
Man.
He blew up sitting on the jack the other day. I mean, they dropped the jack, he took off, and the motor blew up.
Yeah, I saw that.
TJ.
I don't know who the drivers were, but I did watch a little bit of a sprint car race from Ohio, maybe, and the lap 8 of the race, probably a 30, 35 lap race. Second place throws a slide job from pretty far back on the leader and just knows he's going to clobber him because they were already kind of trading sliders. And do you see this wreck?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. The guy, I mean, they both flip, basically go out almost out of the park. Did any of you guys see it? Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah, I would say that that was pretty bad.
One thing I will. Did you have an idiot?
We had a new listener last week.
Oh, boy.
International
Just one?
listener. Will Brown listened to our show, and he sent me a text about Freddie. And he said he laughed the whole show and that he loved our show. And
He probably has no idea what we said. So.
Would you like to try that accent again?
he did another interview where he said,
how did he sound?
He said, my spotter was very southern. However he said it. I don't think it sounded just like that, actually.
I'll tell you one thing, and it's not like one other thing we have to bring up in this general vicinity of this segment is I don't think the dolly thing is going to work if we can't do it any faster than that.
Are you sure?
Like, because if that's the plan during the race, Ross would have been about 20. He'd probably been 10 laps down, I would say. So we're going to have to either get better at that or come up with something new, I think, because that was a 13-minute red flag for a left rear tire. What else we have this week?
New Hampshire.
Yes. Thank you. I finally get a win for TBC picks.
Oh, wow.
We are.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's your
Making
second
picks?
one of the year?
No,
Or is that your
I think
first?
it's my third.
Oh, you're on a roll.
It's not my first.
No, I said I get to go first.
Oh, yes. You do get to go first for New Hampshire.
I have no idea. I'll take.
If you go to New Hampshire, you got to go to Mills Falls. That's the cutest little town.
It is.
He's
Cute.
so cute.
Good food,
So
lakes.
cute. And macros.
I'll take old Brad.
Brad Keselowski?
Yeah.
When do I pick?
Third. TJ, you're next.
Well, looking at this list, I'm running low. Man, I'm gonna go with Josh Berry.
That's who I was gonna pick him too.
Yeah, you guys are going to get your asses kicked this week because I'm going with the bathtub man, Mr. Ryan Blaney.
He's pretty good at those mile ovals.
I'll take Martin.
You suck. I didn't know you were going to do that.
Saved him.
This is his home track, right?
I mean, I feel like he has like 3 home tracks.
Dover's his home
Dover's his
track.
home track.
Yeah.
This is the one he raced at a lot though.
Bush
They're coming
North,
up.
yeah.
We've
Bush
all
East.
screwed up because we all needed Bell for here.
I mean,
Yeah.
So.
I wanted to save Bell. But
I wish I'd have saved Blaney now. I didn't know you was coming strong.
I'll tell you.
Is this race going to be any passing, do we think? I almost took Chase Briscoe because I honestly felt like he's going to have to get hot here, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got to prove people right.
You doing modified?
Yep. Doug Kobe.
I always want to do a modified race there. I
but
did a
you
modified
won't
race.
do a
They-
truck with Clint.
No, I'm out on
The
truck.
modified race at New Hampshire is the best race of the weekend.
is.
Yeah, it's one of the best races of the
I think
year.
I told you I might be doing it.
Oh yeah,
I think Andy might be going.
Yeah.
You know what? It's either checker flag or God for us,
You
man.
get your license. You get your
yeah, I told him
license because
that.
your hard card's not good enough to spot a modified race.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Is that still the case?
Yes.
$60 a team's got to pay for a Cup spotter to spot for him because we don't our Cup Series hard card that costs God knows how much
$60
every time. So I spot for Tommy Baldwin's car. I don't know 3 or 4 times a year. He's got to pay $60 every time I do it.
Wow.
Because my Cup Series license and hard card isn't good enough to
That's
spot
going
for
to
a
change the
modified.
You
future
can
of the
do
sport for sure.
You can do a truck and Xfinity car, but damn if you do a modified. No, sir.
$60 at a time, boys.
I got Xfinity this weekend too. So.
Do you?
Yeah, we're bringing. Old
So what all's there?
Carson back.
Modifieds are there. Cups obviously there. Xfinity's there. No truck. No truck. So 3 series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I heard some interesting schedule rumors this week, and I'll tease it this week, and I'll let the people on Reddit go nuts for a week before we tell any stories. I did hear 3 races coming out of the playoffs. Or
3 tracks.
3 tracks coming out of the playoffs.
3 new ones going in.
3 new ones going in, obviously. I'll give you 2 of them because they're obvious. Atlanta's obviously coming out because we know that's the first race of the tournament, I think.
Yep.
Darlington's going back in, which makes sense the way the schedule lays out. I think Daytona's going to be back to the final race. Darlington's going in. The other 2 races that are coming out and going in are very big surprises to me. And I'll let everybody. Not new tracks that are already on the schedule, but going in. One of them the one that's coming out of the playoffs, I honestly can't believe, and the 2 that are going in are surprising to me. So I'll let you guys debate about that for a little while before we give any more
I just pray
information.
Phoenix comes out eventually.
No, look at
that
it.
ain't one of them.
Look at the schedule.
I know they've already announced it, but I just wish we could do it.
Let me see it. Let me see that schedule. I'll tell you if it's right.
I don't think you want to see that schedule.
Okay. Oh, I already.
How many weeks off you get? 1?
Yeah, 1.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Easter.
Megan is thrilled.
Yeah.
At
So
least
we need the
Easter.
Olympics to be an every year sport.
Yes.
What you're saying.
Yes.
Can we make the Olympics an annual thing around here?
All right.
The
Well,
trials.
for those in New Hampshire, be sure to stop by, say hi.
You're going to be there?
No, I will not be there.
Then hi.
But stop by to you guys and say
Remember
hi.
that one time we did that Q&A outside the tunnel?
I've been trying to forget about it.
That's
the last thing
I wonder
they did.
why we didn't get
The
invited
last
back.
thing they did was like we're gonna ask Brett some random words, and that didn't go well at all. What was it, Jimmy? You bang a Yui.
Oh, I wasn't there for that one.
Jimmy was a sprinkle. Brett thought it was something else.
Oh, it was a condom.
Bang a Yui.
boy.
Brett thought there was somebody named Yui in the crowd.
And you wonder why you weren't asked back.
I can't believe we didn't get out.
I don't know why. It's weird.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
thank you all so much for listening. We will talk to y'all after New Hampshire.
See y'all
Have a
next
great week.
We out. Holla.